What is happening, Reds? Welcome back to the show. Of course, this is the Shankly Sessions, the Liverpool podcast we bring you as part of the upper tier. Head out there, smash that subscribe and bell notification button, drop a like on the video, share the content, check out the audios on Spotify, Google Podcasts, Amazon Music. Big preview tonight coming in: Liverpool versus Manchester United. In my eyes, our biggest game of the season. I know we have bigger games ahead in terms of title races and trophies and all that type of stuff. But in terms of when the fixture lists get released during the summer, this is the fixture that I look for. Let me know your thoughts on that as well, Reds. What do you think? What is the fixture that you look for when the fixtures come out in the summer? Has to be the two Man United games. Still our biggest rival. Still the biggest game in the calendar, I think. But this is certainly an interesting one. A lot of narrative and background from the previous one. Can be good for us or bad for us in one way or another, depending on what way you think about it. Let's go to the chat first. Daz is in. Big up, Daz. Daz, hope you're enjoying the darts. I was watching a little bit of it last night with Michael Smith and stuff. I didn't get to see much today, but I believe today was it the first couple of games. The standard was pretty poor. But that's just what I heard the boys were telling me in the WhatsApp group. I didn't get to see it. I was out and about doing stuff. But before we get into the preview, of course, folks, and we'll take the gaffers' comments and all that kind of stuff. We'll talk about lineups, we'll talk about predictions, we'll talk about all that kind of stuff as well. Let's just reflect a little bit on a few things before we get into it. I suppose the first thing, of course, we have to reflect on this man, his anniversary this week of his passing, of course, the great Gerard Houllier, fantastic manager for us and stuff like that. So Daz says he got the darts on now. I tell you, Daz, do you know something? I was saying to the lads last night, I don't know how you feel about this, but when I hear that dart song, Chase the Sun, that for me feels like the real beginning of Christmas. When I just hear that tune pumping, oh yeah, it generates that excitement with me. But yeah, the great Gerard Houllier, of course, his anniversary this week, so we thought we'd mention that. I want to mention this boy again. This man's a guy I've been building up a lot and all. Got his first goal there the other night. I know we didn't get the result we wanted, but I really like him as a player. I think he's going to be exceptional for us. What did you make of his interview, his post-match interview, where he was talking about having to move above Joe Matip and stuff like that? A lot of people weren't happy with it. A lot of people saw it a different way and stuff like that. I'm telling you now, these younger guys in there, and I talk about it all the time, if their target is not to take the player in their position out of the team and move above them, then what are they doing? What are they doing? I thought it was a fantastic interview. I didn't see it as being a dig at Joel Matip, especially with Joel out injured. Had successful surgery there the other day as well. So it wasn't a dig at Joel at all. It was a guy who was very confident about his talent and a guy who was basically saying, look, that's the position I want to have. If I'm not here trying to take Joel Matip's position or whoever it is in that position, then what am I doing here? And I like that from the boy. So I was very, very impressed with that as well. I also wanted to talk about this. I thought it was pretty refreshing to see this. Thiago Alcantara, of course, heading into training at the Access Centre and stuff like that. I thought it was really, really encouraging. I just find it bewildering what's gone on here in terms of how long he's been out and stuff like that and all, you know. So, like to see Thiago Alcantara back in there as well, and what a boost he would give us in the new year around January or February if he was to pop back in, you know, and get involved in the squad and be in there for us and stuff like that. Especially at the moment when we look at probably the solution to Mo Salah going off to the AFCON is probably going to be something of a rejig around in the midfield and stuff like that. So to have Thiago back in there and potentially Stefan Bietic as well would be absolutely huge for us. So great to see him back. I know a lot of people are thinking he probably won't play for us again. He might go in January or whatever it is. I think we're probably going to need him if we're really going to be serious about pushing to try and win this title. I think we're really going to need to have him in the team, because my guessing is someone like Dominic or something might move forward, or Harvey, in terms of that Mo Salah position when he heads off to the AFCON, which is going to leave us pretty light in midfield with the options that we need. So if we can get Thiago back and players like that, it's going to be really, really important. So great to see him back there, up and about, looking kind of happy. I'm sure it's difficult for him as well with the injuries he's had to sustain and all the hassle and stuff like that and all. So it'd be a great welcome back to have a quality player like that. And imagine a midfield where you'd have Thiago, Alexis and Dominic. Wow, be unbelievable. Let's see how that goes. But great to see him back. We've got a couple of birthday boys in as well. A couple of birthdays this week. Two absolute destroyers. Martin Skirtle, of course, and of course, Daniel Agger. Could you pick two more Liverpool guys in terms of their commitment to the team? Two wonderful players at their time at the club, especially Daniel and Martin Skirtle. They were absolutely unbelievable. So happy birthday to both boys. We wish them a happy birthday this week and hope they have a really, really good week. And we hope we can give them a little bit to celebrate tomorrow as well. So happy birthday to the two boys. I was saying it the other day, and these two boys are two of the guys that, you know, kept me happy at times during tough times in Liverpool. So well done to both those guys on their birthday. Of course, we got to talk about this man, the Egyptian king, Mo Salah, picking up another player of the month for November. I think that's the third on the row for the Standard Chartered one. Unbelievable. And of course, a picture there with the squad as well, with the 200 jersey as well. Can't play down what a milestone that is and stuff like that. And great to see the whole squad there, including Robbo and everything and all, to celebrate that jersey and stuff like that was presented to him. So absolutely fantastic to see him pick up that trophy. Again, a third month on the trot, I think, as the Standard Chartered Player of the Month. And no surprise, of course. And of course, we're expecting big things from this guy tomorrow. So let's see what happens there. We also got go-ahead on the stand. The test went well, and the stand is approved. Just look at that view. Look at that view from up the back of the new stand, or pretty much there or thereabouts. How wonderful does that stadium look? It's going to be absolutely incredible. It's going to be packed to the rafters tomorrow with something in the region. I think it's an extra 7,000 fans in there who are going to be in full voice. And God help that Man United team fans and Andre Onana if he is in nets, because he is going to be given a torturous time tomorrow. Stand looks absolutely wonderful. And I read the other day that they're planning on extending one of the other stands as well and doing more and stuff like that. So always brilliant to see the ground being developed and stuff like that. So more Liverpool fans have the potential opportunity to go and watch the games and stuff like that. Really, really, really important. Let's take some comments in here. Let's see who's in. Daz got it on the TV. Yeah, the golf. Joanne, or Mark's in. Mark Grennan's in. How are you, Mark? Good to see you, my friend. Bjorn is in. Good to see you, Bjorn. Thanks for joining us tonight. Absolutely brilliant. Joanna's in. Joanne's been knocking it out of the park today, lads. If you check out Thursday Tier Talk, she's been hitting a few out of the park in terms of results this week. I hope your Super 6 was going well as well, Joanne. Daz is in. Big up, Joanne. Hello, Daz. And Daz, would you play Dom on the right when Mo goes to AFCON? I certainly would. I don't see why not. I certainly think we could play him there. I think he can play there. I think he's played there a number of times for Hungary as well, and I think he has an eye as well on that area and stuff like that, you know. But we'll have to figure it out. There isn't much talk about it at the moment, so let's see what happens. And I'm also expecting, don't forget, I'm expecting the club to go into the market as well in January to really solidify our push for the title this year. I still maintain that the team that does the best business in January is the team that's going to win the league. And look at the results and the way they went today. Unbelievable. Man City dropping a clanger again. 2-0 up, 75% possession. Crystal Palace barely getting a shot on target in the whole game. And they walk away with a point. And Man City dropped 2 at the Etihad. Serious problems there at the moment. Let us know your thoughts in the chat. What do you think of Man City at the moment? Is it a mentality thing? Is it a disjointment thing? Seems to be a lot of very comfortable passing side to side and stuff like that. I heard Big Steve on TikTok earlier giving his kick around about it, and he was saying that there's a lot of side to side passing and all that kind of stuff. Very, very frustrating, and that things just aren't right. But what that does for us tomorrow is it opens up an opportunity to create an even bigger gap at the top of the table with Man City. And now Man City going off to the World Club Cup as well gives us an opportunity to put even more points on the board next week when we play Arsenal. This is a massive, massive 7 days in this club's season. This is a season-defining 7 days. Man United tomorrow, West Ham in the middle of the week, and then Arsenal next weekend as well. It's going to be absolutely massive. If we can come out with all them, we're in a serious driving seat going into the new year. It's going to be absolutely fantastic. So let's see what happens. But absolutely, I would totally. Doug is in. Big up, Doug. How are you, my friend? Good to see you. Cheers for dropping by. All right, Doug, mate. Joanna's in. Yeah, I'm okay. It's this weekend with my predictions. Yeah, absolutely. Nigel's in. Great to see everyone. And you, Nigel. Good to see you, my friend. Acers, Onana going to have diarrhea tomorrow every time Liverpool shoot a goal tomorrow. Talk of Rashford. Did you see this news that came out that he has some sort of a viral bug or something like that? That's causing diarrhea and stuff like that and all. And I was thinking, good Lord. And I was thinking, I have him in a lineup there for Man United. I was expecting to play him, but it looks like it might be Garnacho. Let's see if it's all tidied up. But the last thing you want to be doing is going into a game at this level. 11 points dropped in the last 6 matches for City in the Premier League. It's unbelievable, Doug, isn't it? Unbelievable. There's definitely things aren't right there. And we said it at the start of the season. You can't lose a Gundogan and a Mahrez and players like this and just think that you're going to replace them with what you bring in. Those boys were absolutely sensational. I still maintain last season Gundogan was unbelievable and stuff like that. You know what I mean? So let us know your thoughts on that as well. But let us know what you're thinking is going on at City. What do you think the problems are and stuff like that? A lot of chopping and changing as well, isn't there? There doesn't seem to be anything there that's very settled. You get the feeling with Man City, they haven't really settled into the season yet. So I don't know, but let's see what happens. But the one thing you can be guaranteed, once January rolls around, Pep will be in the transfer window. Don't worry about that. Big up, Nigel. Keith is in. Big up, Keith. I've said from the start of the season, Man City won't win the title this season. You did call it, and you called it even when they were strong as well. So fair play to you, Keith. Absolutely. Doug is in. Hey, Daz, buddy. Big up, Acers. Love this community we have at the moment. City, their chests, their chests. So they had an unfortunate advantage. Hashtag karma. Yeah, they're cheats, I presume you're saying there, is it, Nigel? Absolutely, yeah. So, but yeah, let's see what happens. I mean, there's a lot overriding there at the moment, isn't there? And I mean, they do have a war chest. Cheats, yeah, absolutely, Nigel. They do have a war chest there because remember, I think they came out of the thing positive window there in the summer, didn't they? Sold a lot of academy players as well for big bucks. And so they do have a bit of a war chest there. So if Pep feels he needs to go into the market, start making things happen at Man City, he will certainly do that. There's no doubt about it. But yeah, just thought I'd put up that stand there, folks. How beautiful does that place look? It's mad, isn't it? When you look at it, it's just sensational. Fair play. Right, I suppose we should get into the preview. Folks, let us know, what are you going here with a starting 11? Let us know your starting 11 and let us know your predictions and let us know your thoughts on how the game goes out. How do you feel about going in tomorrow? Are you nervous? Are you confident? You know, does last year's 7-0, does it mean anything now? We're in a new season, different team for us, different midfield, somewhat different team for United as well. They thought they would kick on from last season's success that they had. They've really absolutely fallen way short of that. A lot of players out injured. We've a lot of key players out injured as well. So let us know your thoughts. Give us your thoughts in the chat there and what you're thinking at the moment. I'll brush through the gaffer's comments on the presser, and let's see what we have coming out of that as well. And just hit me up, let me know what you want to talk about. First of all, it says the 7-0 we knew on the day was a freakish result that happens once in a lifetime, pretty much, he said during his press conference. He says, and if it helps anybody for the next game, it's the team who lost 7-0 and not the team who won 7-0. That's another thing. If you take it all out of consideration, then we just play a football game against the rival, the historical rival of Liverpool Football Club at home on Anfield. So I think what the gaffer is saying there basically is last year's 7-0 was a freak result, and it was a freak result. Now, we played brilliant on the day, and they were atrocious. There's no doubt about that. But I think what he's saying is they're going to be hurting and wounded, and they'll want to make up. And the expectation for us is to perform somewhat at that level again. So there's a lot of pressure on us to get this done. And the likelihood after the 2:00 games tomorrow is we may be, I don't know, third in the league or something like that. I'm expecting Arsenal to win, and I'm expecting Villa to win. So the pressure will be back on us. We'll know what we have to do. So a win tomorrow puts us top of the Premier League again. That's what we need to do. But good thoughts there by the gaffer. And he's going to just playing down a little bit the 7-0. There's a lot of people coming out at the moment, you know, talking about what we're going to do. I was talking to Ben earlier, my son, about it. I said, so what do you think about tomorrow? And he says he reckons that United are just going to sit back. They're going to play a low block kind of situation, try and hit us on the counter and stuff like that. Try and soak it up and just make it a dull affair, basically, to get out of there with something. This is what we're expecting. But let's see what happens. You know, anything can happen on the day, but that's kind of the thinking at the moment. He says that itself must make it a special game, and that's what I want to see from us, a special game. Really understand the situation and give your all. That's all I need. So he's talking about the magnitude of the game there. Go in there. We were talking the other night on Jack's channel, Anfield Road TV. Go check it out. We were talking about no complacency. There can't be any complacency tomorrow. People got to go out there on the pitch. No slow starting. No giving up at it, and right at it from minute one. That's the important thing that's going on. He says, in 2 of the 3 top flight victories that preceded the visit of United, Klopp's team had to come from behind to secure the points. That's been the story of our season. It's been unbelievable. Something like either 15 or 18 points from losing position, which shows a serious mentality. But we always do have that concern that can catch up on us. And one of those games, we won't do that. And of course, we're not expecting that game to be tomorrow, of course. They scored twice in 2 minutes laid on to defeat Fulham 4-3 at Anfield and needed a 91st minute winner from Harvey Elliott at Crystal Palace, either side of a 2-0 result versus Sheffield United. So, yeah, it's really, really important that that's what we're doing. The gaffer talking about, asked how they had strengthened the mentality of his new look squad. Klopp said, yeah, it came rather from that comeback victory. So he's talking about that new mentality of, never losing kind of thing and stuff like that. And remember, at home, folks, we're unbelievable. We're free scoring at the moment at home. Minimum, I think, averaging kind of 3 goals a game. 007. We won all our games. No losses, no draws. So we're not going to let United rock into town tomorrow and just change that, are we? That's just not going to happen. I knew at the beginning of the season we have a really good football team. We brought a really good few boys. And actually, the boys who were here, we all knew how good they can be. So that was obvious from pretty early. But what is that? Tell me one Premier League squad who was not good. That is just existing. Especially if you fight for the top 4, they are all outstanding. So that's what you have to be. So he's making the point. We had to do what we had to do. These boys had to come in and hit the ground running if we want to fight for top 4 and also for titles and stuff like that. Absolutely. Now, could we have predicted how well it has gone so far? Absolutely not. But that's where it's at. These experiences, we said it when it happened early in the season. We had a good preseason, a long preseason, and we didn't train once 10v11 and had to play it pretty much for the first 5 games all the time. We did that really well, and yeah, that brings a group together, obviously. So yeah, getting the guys in. We were getting our signings in early enough. The guys were able to bed in. They were able to play with each other. We were able to find a rhythm, all that kind of stuff. So important. You hear United fans a lot at the moment talking about Sofian Amrabat and how he came in so late. So he didn't have a pre-season with the squad and stuff like that and all. And they reckon somewhat that has affected somewhat of his play, that he's actually a very good player. And we know he is. We've seen how good he was in the World Cup. But that can be one issue there. So it's always really important. And that's why my follow-on from that is, come January, don't be signing players the last week in January. If we're going out there to strengthen, to be serious about putting this title across the line, absolutely sign the players early on. Now, I know the gaffer, we're normally like that. We're on the ball with these things anyway. So let's see what happens. That helps the process, definitely, if you get through it. If you don't get through it, it's the opposite, actually. But we go through this, and that was extremely helpful, absolutely. It's now a while ago. We know each other much better. It's still new, but we know each other much better, and the steps we make, I like. Will they always be big enough? I don't know yet. We have to see that. But so far, I can see development, and that's actually what I need to understand where it could end up. But that's not possible in the moment because of the things I said before. On whether this team has fully shown its true capabilities yet, Klopp said, oh yes, in moments, definitely. And it has. I think at times, one of our, the performance against Brentford, I think, was a very, very strong showing and a very, very strong performance, stuff like that. But I don't think we're anywhere near what we've shown yet. I think the ceiling for the likes of Dominic and players like that and all is absolutely huge. I think he's going to be absolutely phenomenal. What is the real capability? Is it what you can do in the moment, or is it what you can do in 3 or 4 years of working together? For what we can do in the moment, we saw in moments. So absolutely. So he's saying in moments in matches, we've seen what we can do and what can potentially happen. What he's saying outside that as well. But we've also seen at times where we still have a lot of development to do and stuff like that. So just, again, being a little bit cautious. Again, I've said I'm really enjoying his pressers at the moment. They're giving us some deep thinking here into his mindset and how he sees things, which is not always what we've seen in pressers, because we know he's been a little bit, sometimes I suppose he's been a little bit negative or a little bit dour, or he just doesn't enjoy dealing with the press. I think this season he's enjoying dealing with the press more because he's calling it for what it is and stuff like that. So And we saw the problems as well. That's clear. When you have a new group together, it is a new group, new players, and different roles for other players. That's how it is. It's always clear that it needs time to find some stability. That's what we lacked in moments. That's the truth. But in the end, so far, it worked out somehow, and we have to make sure that we keep improving, even in the most difficult moments. We were not as a group in this tough period yet. We never had a December together. Let me say it like that. And a December in English football is the toughest month ever. Absolutely, 100% for all the teams. And that's where we now have to show how far we are with that. So he's saying really December is going to show exactly where this team is at. And I think that's spot on, because now we're starting to really get into the business side of things, if you like. Up till now, we've been very, very strong and reasonably solid now. But now let's see what is the true capability of this. Here's a massive week coming up. Let's see, can we show what we're really about? I know when in early December you were top of the table, people start thinking about different things. We obviously don't. So we all start thinking about different things, but they obviously don't. But they kind of do. I'm sure behind closed doors, Jurgen Klopp is thinking, let's go. I'm at least too long in the business that it would mean anything to me. I love the way he plays that down. It's better than being 18th or 20th, but it's still just a position for that for the moment, and we have to keep working extremely hard. And that is so difficult when you don't have real time for recovery, but you have time to do it anyway. Absolutely. We know the schedule is absolutely crazy, but we also know through our history, we know that Liverpool sometimes playing at its best. It's when it's match after match after match, and we don't have too long to think about it. If you look even back last season, the matches that we fell down on are the matches where we had plenty of time in the build up to them to think about them and probably second question ourselves. Now the matches are coming so quick. You're literally playing a match, you're doing a day recovery, you're doing a day of prep, you're back into another match. So there's no messing about. So these boys are finding a rhythm all the time, and you're maintaining that rhythm from match after match after match. So brilliant stuff there from the gaffer. Just some thoughts from him and stuff like that as well. Now let's get into the preview. Let us know your thoughts and what you think about him. How are you feeling about the gaffer's press conferences these days as well? I'd love to hear your thoughts on that as well, because I do think he genuinely is giving us a real insight into things and stuff like that, which is really, really encouraging. That's like some of your comments here. Where was I? Go back here. Where am I? Start from here. Nigel City, there says, yeah, we had that one. Haaland and De Bruyne are irreplaceable. They absolutely are irreplaceable. It cheats even, absolutely, Nigel. I'm no good at this. It's an acquired taste, Nigel. Trent centre midfield, my choice, and build around him. Have you been spying on my slides, Nigel? Have you? Alisson, Gomez, Ebu, Virgil van Dijk, Costas, Trent, Ryan, Dom, Mo, Nunes, Diaz. Not bad. That's pretty close to my one. Pretty close. LM Gaming is in, just recovering from the Crystal Palace result there. Absolutely. I tell you. Unbelievable. Unbelievable, wasn't it? I mean, what did you think of that? That's just crazy. But it's not unlike Crystal Palace to do something like that. If you're a Crystal Palace fan, it must be the most frustrating thing as well, because you can see at times where they can go out and actually play football and stuff like that. And other times they just look so dire. It's crazy, isn't it? Acers is in. Ten Hag was saying that United was exhausted after the Carabao Cup final. That's why they lost 7-0 at Anfield. Let's see. Nigel's in with a good call. Absolutely. Keats in. Alisson. Gomez. Virgil, Konate, Greek Scouser, Trent, hybrid role. Interesting. Dominic, Gravenberch, Salah, Nunes, Diaz. Interesting. I'm slightly different. Liverpool have been 7 out of 10. They have indeed. 10 wins though, yeah, absolutely. But they're 7 out of 7, I think, at home though, aren't they? Or something like that, Nigel. I think they're really strong at home and stuff like that, and scoring. The British player bear the Canadian. Beat the Canadian. The British player beat the Canadian. We need more 1-2 touch speed ball, cutback, and overhead passing along the ground. Yeah, absolutely. Just stronger transitions and stuff like that. Much quicker and stuff like that. Sometimes we're so lethargic in our build-up. But I think the rhythm of this game tomorrow and the full Anfield crowd in there and the roar, and this is such a huge match. This is truly, when we talk Super Sundays, this is a Super Sunday. I think this will be a high tempo game. I think United at times will find themselves very much on the back foot, and I think if we can get the ball moving quick enough and we get it in behind them and stuff, that if we can turn them, we know how difficult they try to play when they're turned and stuff like that. They do be at 6s and 7s and stuff like that. So that's where we have to be strong. Looking forward to hearing Keane and Neville arguments tomorrow. Going to be interesting. They never hold back anyway. Along the ground, better and quicker passing. Yeah, absolutely. Speed, rhythm, tempo, all that kind of stuff. That's what we spoke about over the last month or so. 7 out of 10 for how we've played. Yeah, absolutely, Nigel. You're spot on there. At times, even 7's been high, hasn't it? At times we've just kind of coasted through games and kind of tried to find our way and stuff like that. But I think you're not going to get too many. You're not going to get too many on the pitch tomorrow. 7 out of 10 against a Man United side. If you don't have the motivation and the mental fortitude to go out against a Man United side at Anfield, and a Man United side that's hurting at the moment, and a Liverpool side that's top of the table, you got to look in the mirror, don't you? You got to look in the mirror. Liverpool attack show and on a ruthless aggression. Absolutely. Acers were talking about the other night as well. Our players should be shooting from everywhere. Stephen's in. Big up, Stephen. How are you, my friend? On the hammers. Absolutely on the hammers. Yeah, I'm looking forward to that game midweek, Stephen. Me and you will be chatting, my friend. We will be chatting. What's the odds of Man City winning the title now after today's draw? No, I didn't even look at it, Keith. I think because you're only, whatever it is, 17 games in and stuff like that. And, you got one thing I heard today, and I kind of agreed with, I spoke about it last week as well. If you look at the top, say, 5-6 teams, they're all capable of dropping a poor performance while still kind of maybe getting the result. But none of them have really played brilliantly. I mean, at times Villa have looked really good. At times away from home, they've looked shocking. As we said, we've 15 or 18 points from coming from behind, from losing positions, stuff like that. Very unlike us. You know what I mean? At that level. And I think someone was saying today that the nearest to us in that stat is miles off us. It's not even worth talking about. But I've no idea. The odds don't change that much this early in the season. I can't say, look, Pep will get it right. We know he'll get it right. All we can do is go out and win our games, put points on the board, and create that gap to create that pressure. Yeah. Stephen, City are not in a good place right now mentally. Yeah, they're definitely not, Stephen. Sure, they're not. There's a mentality issue there as well. And normally Pep is kind of really good at getting that across and fixing that quicker. But he seems to be struggling at the moment to do it. So let's see. Well, I mean, long may it continue. Liverpool should be playing Bemall teams on PA system tomorrow. I'm not too sure about that, Acers. Not too sure about that. Niall, do you think you're going to play your first team against us? Absolutely. 100%. 100%. It's too close. Too close now. Quarter-final. You're hardly expecting them to drop a clanger in the quarter-final. We're hardly going to be prioritising the league over the Carabao Cup quarter-final after playing 17 games. I think he'll put out an extremely strong side. I wouldn't be surprised if the side that starts against United tomorrow is the side that plays on Tuesday or Wednesday, whenever it is, be Wednesday, wouldn't it? Because we're playing on Sunday. So yeah, expect a strong side, Stephen. Absolutely, and I'd expect nothing less from you guys either. It's the first trophy of the season. It's a great opportunity. And listen, there's Carabao Cup. Happy days. I'll take that in February all day. Right, you've dropped your lineups there and stuff like that. So this is what I put together. You might like that nice little graphic in the stand as well. I just put that up for shits and giggles, as they say. But I've gone with Alisson. I've gone with Joe Gomez at right back, Konate, Van Dijk, and Costas. I've gone with a midfield. I've gone with Curtis Jones. I've gone with Trent in that holding position without having to invert. I think we looked a lot better when Joe came on last week. Dominic, of course, holds his position. Then I think the front line at the moment kind of picks itself, doesn't it, with Salah, Darwin, and Luis Diaz. And then we have the options of Cody, of course, from the bench. I know the gaffer confirmed Alexis McAllister won't be available. It seems to be a nasty injury that he took to the knee and stuff like that. But could he be playing silly beggars? And it's not like Klopp to do that. But if he does, then the lineup trying to change somewhat. Maybe he puts Alexis in where Curtis is, if he is available and if he's playing silly talk really and stuff like that. But Klopp doesn't normally play mind games when it comes to lineups. Eno's in, good man. See you, Eno. How's things? So yeah, I think I'm going with this. The reason I'm going with Curtis is Ryan has been in there playing Gravenberch. He's been in there playing, but he hasn't been playing great. Sure, he hasn't. Now I know Curtis didn't play over skin the other night either. But I know Ryan hasn't been playing great. But I think when you're playing against Man United and you're a scouser in the team, there's a kind of a steely effect of that, isn't it? That raises your game and stuff like that. And I think if we put Curtis in there, especially with his positive forward play that he normally has, I think there's a huge opportunity there. Because when you actually look at the Man United lineup, and we will look at it in a few minutes, there's a midfield section there that opens up, depending on Scott McTominay and stuff like that, depending on like you've got Mainu potentially in there or Amrabat and stuff like that. But there's this gap in the middle that opens up that just exposes the back four. And I think a guy like Curtis Jones, who gets on the ball and who runs strong going forward and stuff like that, could really help to punish Man United in that position. So I went with Curtis this time. Let me know your thoughts on this. Curtis Jones. I know a lot of people that want Ryan in there. And listen, Ryan could go in there and do an unbelievable job as well. Cody could go in there and do a job as well. Who knows? But I just thought, it's Liverpool versus Man United. So I'm not saying the other players don't get it. Obviously, Ryan wouldn't have experienced this before. Dominic, we know, is just one of those guys that wears his heart in his sleeve and he goes into battle. I don't sometimes hear that. I don't sometimes get that from Ryan Gravenberch. I certainly will get it from Curtis Jones if he gets the nod tomorrow against Man United. Let me know your thoughts. What do you think on that? Curtis Jones instead of Ryan Gravenberch. And then the front line, of course. I think Luis Diaz, I think it's an opportunity for him. He could really make things happen if he goes on the outside a little bit more as well, but also cutting in. And what I want to see these boys tomorrow do, even on the 18-yard line or in around it, let fly with the shots. Let's test this keeper early on. Bang a few shots in there, check his L metal, and let's see what it's like. He's going to have a whole stadium on his back. And we know that he doesn't like that and he doesn't appreciate it. So let's see what way that goes. Daz is in. Jota is back next week, Noel. That's great news. Absolutely brilliant news. The image of the newsstand, very telling for tomorrow. It is, Nigel, isn't it? It really is. I mean, if you think about it, the likelihood, if we play the way we normally play, is Onana's going to be down that end first. So it's going to probably feel like Cop 2, that kind of way. And it's going to be interesting to see what noise is generated in the stadium. Tomorrow will be the first time we're going to feel it, a full packed house. We always feel the energy of the Cop and the rhythm of it and stuff like that. That's why it's so important to us in terms of scoring goals. But now we're going to have the other end as well, which is going to be equally as loud and stuff like that. So it's going to be an absolute cauldron tomorrow. And I just say, anyone watching the podcast tonight or anyone going to the match tomorrow, make it an absolute cauldron tomorrow. Really put these guys to the sword, you know what I mean? But yeah, it is spot on, Nigel. Keith's in. Curtis hasn't been playing all that great over the last while. He hasn't, Keith. But at times you can see where his runs forward and stuff like that, they just haven't come off at times with what he's been trying to do. But I think his connection play with Luis Diaz might be a little bit better and stuff like that. And I think with Costas there as well, I think we might find a little bit better of a balance there, where Ryan likes to come inside quite a lot, nearly centrally and stuff like that. Generally doesn't operate out wide and stuff, and kind of leaves that space where the likes of Onana could hit players there. Because if that space is open, you've got that huge gap then between Luis Diaz and Costas, and it kind of exposes Costas then to have to turn and be on the back foot. And we know that's not where he's at his best and stuff like that. I want to see Costas getting forward tomorrow as well. I want to see him dropping quality delivery into the box, quality corners, quality delivery from set pieces and free kicks and stuff like that. I want to see it tomorrow. This is the day to show up, go top of the table. I'm not talking about having to go out there. I don't care if it's a 7 or 8-0. I'm not too sure. I will take a 2-0 now and no injuries and move on and be top of the table. I don't care if we bash it. Like, what does it matter? We know that all around this pitch, we are levels better than them. everywhere on the pitch. We've got to go out tomorrow and make sure that that's the narrative, that the narrative isn't, no nervous or complacency about us. It's our home. Go out there, play our football. We should be able to open these up and do a number on them. Dad's in. All right, Richie. And Keith's in. I'm not the biggest fan of Harvey Elliott, but would he give him a shout in the second half? We will definitely see Harvey Elliott tomorrow. Harvey Elliott will come on tomorrow, just as the energy from Man United is getting sapped dry and they're struggling and stuff like that. Harvey Elliott will come from the bench and he will absolutely raise the energy of our team again. Again, it all depends, Keith, how the game is going. If the game is going really strong for us and we put a number on the board, 2-3 goals maybe potentially, he may decide to change things slightly and stuff like that. Let's see what happens. Very hard to tell, but listen, Harvey's come on a couple of times now. Didn't have a great showing again the other night, let's be honest. But the whole team didn't. But keep on saying it. This is Man United. Man United come into town. We all talk about it. Form goes out the window. They'll want to put on a reasonable showing. We'll want to put on a proper show. A new stand, an extra 7,000 fans in there and stuff like that. Can't be letting them down tomorrow. There'll be nowhere for any of these players to hide if they don't perform. And I'm expecting the gaffer as well, if things aren't going our way and people aren't performing. I don't want to see any of this waiting 60 minutes to do this, that, and the other. I don't want to hear any of that nonsense. Make changes. This is too important for us to wash away. Excuse me. Right, let's have a look. What do we want to look at? Let's look at this. This is the United lineup. Potentially, let me know what you think. Have I got anything wrong? I know they said Luke Shaw is probably going to be okay. Rashford I put in there, but I'm not sure whether Rashford's going to be the guy in there. I don't know if he's recovered from that illness that he has. If he hasn't, then it's going to be Garnacho in there one way or another. Kind of a daunting chance. Rashford would be used to this. He'd be more experienced as one of the guys on the pitch, so he'd be really, really important for United to be in there. He's one of few players in this side that has experienced this cauldron effect that's in there and stuff like that, But there's that gap that I'm talking about. When McTominay vacates his position in midfield, that gap opens up between Kobe Mainoo and Sofian Amrabat. I'm not too sure whether he's going to put Hannibal on there or not. I think if you do put Hannibal on there, the chances are probably within 15 minutes of the game starting, he's going to pick up a card and then we're going to target him. So I don't know whether this probably suits Hannibal more to come on maybe with 20 minutes to go on 70 minutes or something like that. I think starting with Hannibal would be a very dangerous ploy to push in there. And somewhat to Harvey Elliott as well, because Hannibal does come on and bring the energy and stuff like that. You rarely feel it from the get-go if he's starting, but you certainly feel it when he comes on as a sub. And then if you give him 15 or 20 minutes, there's less time for him to get absolutely reckless and get sent off, whereas there's a bigger chance if he starts. But there's that gap that opens up Varane and Johnny Evans there for us. And if we can play through the middle and it's through that centre section, that's where the likes of Trent can control the game. Curtis can make the link-up runs and the pivot with him. Dominic can have a field day running in there centrally as well. And that's how I want to see our front man operating as well. More central, more in there if we can. We don't know what Luke Shaw is going to show up. He's injured, but apparently he's available to play. But he got that injury there last week, so it'll be interesting to see that. We know what Annan is like. He's kind of his mentality is kind of weak at the moment. He's kind of fairly low in confidence. Varane, we know the quality that Varane brings. We know he's a world-class defender and stuff like that. Johnny Evans will do a shift for you. He wears that United badge on his heart, there's no doubt about it, and stuff like that. Wan-Bissaka, where he might not give you a whole lot going forward, that Wan-Bissaka, Amrabat, Anthony pivot hasn't quite reaped the rewards that it should. Anthony, very, very poor so far. We know the struggles of Hoyland at the moment. If you're not getting the service, you're not going to be able to do a whole lot. But I just think where we can do it is the strength of our midfield and the way we can move into those spaces that they leave, I think is going to be absolutely vital, because sometimes I've looked at United as well, and if you look at Kobe as well, there's only a young guy as well being thrust into a tough position. But if you look at the spacing between him and Amrabat at times on the pitch, it's absolutely huge, and it just allows us to overrun that. It nearly feels like nearly a bypassing of the midfield, but it's not really a bypassing, if you like. But it just feels that way in the way that we transition. And then I think you're going to have Luke Shaw's going to have his handful with Mo Salah. all day long. I think Wan-Bissaka is going to be very interesting against Luis Diaz as a matchup. We know how good Wan-Bissaka is as a defender, last-ditch tackling, all that kind of stuff. We know going forward in recent times he's been slightly better, but we know they're coming off a situation where they're hurting as well. The world is against them, even their own fan base at the moment. You know, crashing out of the Champions League, worst ever sort of campaign. You know, getting thumped up by Bournemouth in the way they did, in the fashion that they did as well. Really, really poor. You know, and losing a number of players. Obviously, Maguire going out and stuff like that. Martial, we know, is not available, who at times could be a little potent at Anfield, but we don't expect to see that happen either. But that's where I think it can open up. Again, in the chat, let me know where you think this side will open up and stuff like that. If he can cut off the supply to Hoyland, we basically negate him as a player on the pitch. Because he'll have to drop deep to get involved, and he drops deep to get involved. That's going to be bread and butter for Kanate and for Virgil van Dijk, to be honest. As powerful as he is, we'll be just too clever for that, to be honest, I think. And I'm not saying that in any way, shape, or form, but I think that's the way I'll read it. They're saying Shaw and Maguire out now. They had said the other day, yesterday when I did this, they said Shaw was going to be available. If Shaw's out, then you're probably looking, who are you looking at? Regulon or something like that, or you might have Dallow over that side. Who knows? Let's see what happens. But again, Shaw's pivotal for them. I said it to people before. I think Shaw's a big player for Man United in terms of he's one of those guys that will pick up the ball and bring that kind of energy. You get a different one. Regulon is not that type of stature player, and Dallow's going to be playing out of his position and stuff like that, so it's going to be difficult for him as well. I think Mo Salah over there, if it's Regulon or Dallow, they're going to have a really tough day. But yeah, if that's the case, there's no problem at all. Thanks for that. God, Luton's lineup looks better than this stripe. Yeah, and look, listen, you have to think about that player as well who collapsed today. So our thoughts and prayers are with him as well. The news is good that he's responding and he's alert and all that type of stuff. But it's so scary these days, isn't it, when you see a player just go down like that? And I was glad that they made the decision to abandon the game as well. It's the right decision to be made when things like that will open. Keith in, it will open up in the midfield. Absolutely open up in the midfield. And that's where I see this is where we're going to win this game, in that midfield as well. Because if you look at it, any of the teams that have gone in there and put on huge performance against that, look at how the Bournemouth game changed against Man United when Billing came on, making those power runs from midfield. The whole game just opened up then for Bournemouth. And Trent makes those runs as well. Curtis can make those runs. Ryan can make those runs as well. It's nice to have the options and stuff like that. But I just like the idea of Curtis in that Man United game and stuff like that. It'll be interesting to see who the gaffer picks, but I think it's going to be absolutely electric. Can't wait for it. Right, folks, let us know your predictions. What are you going with? We'll go down through some of this first of all, and then you can let us know your predictions in the chat, and we'll come back with ours. You know, we're on a good run at the moment, especially with 4 wins and 2 draws, top of the league, 7 at home, unanswered, so absolutely fantastic. United really struggling at the moment, 4 wins and 2 losses, but the 2 losses are pretty poor. We've seen the Bournemouth one, of course, and we also seen the Newcastle one as well, so not great and stuff like that. If you look at team news at the moment, let's go through the team news. Of course, for us, we know Alisson, Virgil, and Trent all in there, no problem at all. Joel Matip, ACL surgery, wish him the best in his recovery. Stefan's still out with the calf. Don't know what it is about these calf injuries. It's mad, isn't it? The way the calf injuries, and I'd love to read up about this. I might have a look about it over the Christmas. Get a better understanding of calf injuries, because they seem like such a simple injury, but yet they seem like it takes forever to come back from them. So it'll be interesting to see. I might do a bit of work on those calf injuries, see what they actually mean. Robbo, we seen in there training away, doing a bit as well, but with the shoulder in the new year. Thiago's hip as well, which we thought was going to be a short one, but has been prolonged. But good to see him back at the extra training centre as well, feeling a part of the team as well. Jota's muscle issue has him out as well, but hopefully Daz the same. We should have him back for next week for Arsenal, which will be great. And Alexa's nasty knee injury as well. Apparently Klopp was saying that the stud that went into his knee, such a freak injury, he said, nearly went right through to the bone. So let's see what the thinking is on that. I don't think he's playing games. It's not the way Klopp does it and stuff like that. If you look at United at the moment, Harry Maguire and Luke Shaw, both casualties of the Bayern game and stuff like that, so they may or may not make it. Harry's definitely out anyway. It's a groinal issue, I'd imagine. Luke is out as well. I think it's a hamstring, but the talk is he might make it, so let's see. They might try and get him in. Marcus Rashford has a viral infection, diarrhea, all that kind of stuff. And I find that as well. I posted it yesterday on Twitter as well. Isn't it kind of weird how forward coming United are with detail like that. All they had to say was he had a viral infection. They didn't have to give us the whole runs down, as they say. But they seem to give us a lot. Martial apparently is an illness. Mason Mount with the calf. Jadon Sancho suspension. Still can't believe the length of time that boy has been ostracized. Absolutely crazy. Diallo was out with a knee. Christian Eriksen's out with a knee. Sandro Martinez out with a foot. Casemiro out with a toe. Malacia out with a knee. That's 3 knees. Is it 4 knees at this stage? Lindelof way out with a knock. It could be touch and go. So if that's the case and Shaw's out, you might get Lindelof even at left back, which would be Mohamed Salah have a field day with that. Fernandes is suspended. So you're going to have Mainu going in there or potentially Hannibal. And we know, of course, Donny van de Beek is off to Frankfurt by the sounds of things. So it's going to be very, very, very interesting tomorrow. A very changed United lineup. We'll know pretty quickly whether they're going in there to be serious in the game or whether it's more damage control. Let's see what happens. Let's take your comments. Finally got the Smiths toys. Big up, good man. Christmas taking shape, isn't it? It's taking shape, all right. It's coming quick. Daz 4-0. Daz going in with a 4-0. The Wexford Volcanoes in Kyle. I was talking to him during the week. Big up, Kyle. Great talking to you again, my friend. Interesting conversation we had. 3-0 to the Pool. Keith Siri. I would love another 7-0 thrashing, but I think it will be 3 or 4-0. No one fancying United to pick up a goal at all. Finally got the Smiths toy store run out of the way. It's tough, isn't it? When you have young ones, it's tough. It is tough. Michael Oliver is the ref, as I said before. In a situation like this, I don't care who the ref is. That ship for me has sailed in terms of who the refs are, or the linesmen, or the VAR, or whatever it is. We just need to go out there, be professional, and do our business. That's the way it should be and stuff like that. But we're getting a couple of 3-4-0s in and stuff like that. No one's fancying United for a goal at all. If you look at a United's lineup, then you're looking at Onana, Wan-Bissaka, Evans, Varane. Shaw is in there, but it could be Shaw, could be Reguilon, could be Lindelof, could be Dalot, who knows. McTominay midfield, that's a weird midfield for me. McTominay, Amrabat, and Mainu. Anthony, Hoyland, and Rashford are putting in there at the moment, but the chances are if he still has that viral infection, it's probably going to be Garnacho. And that will be a torturous time for that young lad if he has to come in here and take the weight of that left-hand side of United in a Liverpool cauldron tomorrow. So, yeah, going to be tough. As I said, for us, you've seen our lineup there as well. The only real difference, I think, coming through from everyone is whether Gravenberch goes in there or whether Curtis Jones goes in there. I've made my feelings known as to why I think Curtis should go in there. We could make a similar case for Gravenberch, if you like, under different pretense and stuff like that. So, again, let us know your thoughts. I'm thinking, I said it on the Thursday show, I was thinking 3-1. So I'm thinking 3 or 4-1. I think it will be a controlled performance. Not as comfortable probably as we're expecting. I think United could deploy potentially quite a low block to try and counter us. But I think if they do that, I think the nature of how some of their players play, they don't necessarily really know how to play a low block, and I think there will be opportunities there for us. I think the game will really hinge on our finishing, which at times hasn't been good this season. I think we have to create a lot of chances and stuff like that at times to really get it going. I'd like to see our shots on target percentage be a lot better tomorrow. But I think somewhere in the region of a 3 or a 4-1. I think there's always, I know we haven't been giving up a lot of goals at Anfield at the moment, but I think when United come along as well, there's always a shot that goes in off someone's backside or something like that. So I'll give them the benefit of the doubt. I'll give them a goal. So I think I'm going to settle on, I think 4-1 I'm going to settle on. I think it'll be a controlled, reasonably comfortable day at the office for Liverpool. I'm not going to buy into the hysteria of the 7-0 or the 8-0, 9-0. Now listen, when I'm on tomorrow night doing the match reaction, and if we thump them 6, 7, 8-0, man, I will be the happiest guy on the planet. But I want to keep us in a situation that we've been doing all this season where we're just flying under the radar and we're taking it serious. We're taking it serious, but people are kind of overlooking us a little bit, and that's where I want that to stay. If we go out tomorrow and we thump these 6, 7, 8-0, all of a sudden they're going to heap this title favourites on us and all this kind of additional pressure that at the moment we don't need, and especially within a number of weeks of Mo Salah going to the AFCON, especially when I don't really understand what the plan is for that, and neither do any of you guys. So let's see what happens there. Let's take it nice and handy. Let's get the points, get out of there, no injuries, move on to Wednesday, move on to next weekend. Let's see where it takes us. And the beauty of tomorrow as well is, with Man City doing what they did today, that little door creaks open again with us with an opportunity to put points on the board. It is one of our biggest games of the season against our biggest rivals, Man United, let's be honest. Let's take advantage of that. But we will be had the advantage of being able to see what Villa and what Arsenal have done as well. And if they come unstuck tomorrow, wow, what a game it's going to be tomorrow. What a super Sunday it's going to be. Stays in. Every parent needs to get the kids a Joker figure this Christmas. Oh, Stephen, good Lord, tell you. Me and you are going to do a podcast, Stephen, on the career of the gobbledygooker. I'm telling you, it's coming. It's coming. Noel, the biggest issue is the amount of games these footballers have to play on a daily basis. And this is the reason why we are getting so many injuries, and it doesn't help Euros is next summer. Absolutely. But I find as well, Keith, as well, I think when you look at Liverpool Football Club, I remember Liverpool Football Club when we did the treble that season with Houllier and stuff like that. It was game after game after game, and we just found this rhythm, and we just kept this rhythm, our match rhythm and stuff like that, and it worked really well for us. Now I know, listen, it's 2023 now. The game has moved on a huge amount and stuff like that. We know the players don't get near enough rest and stuff like that, but there's also a case for that muscle memory, that rhythm all the time of being in match mode, being switched on in match mode constantly and stuff like that, rather than, like a number of the leagues turn around, they go, right, they play matches until next week, and then they take like 2 or 3 weeks off, and all of a sudden these boys go off, and then they come back, and it's like starting the season again. I like at times when we have a lot of games and we're staying in the rhythm of those games. Now, to do that and be successful as well, obviously you need a squad, and that's why I keep on harping on about the January window and how important it is to get a minimum of 2 signings in, and let's see what the plan is for Mo Salah, what's going to happen there. But this, as we know, in 2 weeks this whole thing can come unstuck, and we could find ourselves back down in fourth. So that's how fickle this league is. 17 games in, you can be top of the league, and within 2 weeks you can be fourth. That's just the way this league operates and stuff like that. You just have to be on it. You have to be so on it. So that's my thinking on it, Keith. I just think they got it. This is the way it goes. This is what they should be used to and stuff like that. And it's going to be interesting. It's going to be interesting for the likes of Ryan Gravenberch. It's going to be interesting for Dominic. It's going to be interesting for Endo. They've never experienced a December and a January schedule like what you get in the Premier League and in England with the matches and all that. So let's see how they cope with it. Will be interesting. Most of the other guys are reasonably familiar with it. Let's see how it goes. Big up, Jack. Hiya, Niall. Hope you're well. Go live on Twitch right now and absolutely enjoy, my friend. The other lad is out, so he's not playing it. So I wouldn't have a clue. I wouldn't even have a clue how to use a PlayStation Pad, to be honest. Nunes needs to show up in front of goal tomorrow. Can you imagine? Spam the likes into the chat there, folks. Darwin Nunes tomorrow for a hat-trick. Imagine he shows up tomorrow and everything he strikes or heads hits the back of the net. Just imagine that, shutting up the haters between him and Trent. They're going to be shushing everyone, I'm telling you. How excited would that be? Zane is in. Big up, Zane. I totally agree with you. I take a 3-1 happily days. Absolutely. I would take a 2-0 right now and no injuries and move on. 100%. Big up, Jack from Daz. Stephen's in. Niall, do you have a Kamala figure? I don't have one for sale, but I do have. I have a reproduction Hasbro, Stephen, the Moonbelly one on the yellow card. It's up there somewhere, my friend, in the piles that are there behind me. I have some sweet stuff up there, to be honest. We could have a debate where you argue Eddie Guerrero and I argue the Gooker. Stephen, not even our dedicated chat to this channel would listen to a debate between us on Eddie Guerrero versus the Gooker. Stop that now. Eddie Guerrero is wrestling royalty, my friend. Royalty. I personally don't think we should sign anyone. Keep the owners happy so they don't sell. I don't think they're going to sell anyway. I think the way the club is valuing up and stuff like that, Nigel, I think they're in it. But I think we got to get in. I think we need at least two. If we want to get this title over the line, we need to get in two. We know Arsenal are probably going to try and sign Ivan Toney and probably one other. We know that Partey and maybe one or two others might exit the building by the sounds of things. We know that Newcastle will probably have to strengthen with the injuries and the Tonali situation. We know United, depending on who exits the business, will try and bring players in. I know they're a bit hamstrung with FFP and stuff like that at the moment, but if they can move out some of those high earning contracted players that they have there and stuff like that and try and replace them with a kind of like I don't know if Raphael Varane exits the building, how do you replace a Raphael Varane in terms of experience? Now obviously playing time and injuries and all that comes into it as well. You want players that are available all the time as much as you can. But they will actually get stronger. I know Villa will probably strengthen if Emery is anything to go by, and he's in a really strong position at the moment. Tottenham, I'm not too sure what they will decide and do. They'll be probably, I suppose they might try and strengthen in order for a push as well. So a lot of teams are going to be strengthening. We really need to at least get two players in. Keith, totally agree with you. It's also good to know there's no international football to disturb Liverpool's flow as well until March. Thank God, international football, the bane of my life. Bane of my life. Eno's in. Big shout out to my wonderful friends on the upper tier. Love you all. There you go. There's a nice Christmas greeting from Eno, isn't it? He's here on every show, every chat. Big up, Eno. Really appreciate the support. Season's greetings. Love yous all. That's an awesome Jake figure behind you, Niall. Yeah, that's signed by him. That's signed by him, Stephen. I met him last year and I got him to sign that. And right beside it, Stephen, as well, I have the yellow carded Jake. I think he's in the flame bottoms with the Cobra, and that's signed by him as well. He was blown away by it. And I have a yellow carded DiBiase there as well in the black suit, and I got DiBiase to sign that as well. And when I was meeting DiBiase, he turned around to me and he says, "See this figure here?" He says, "I haven't seen a box one of these figures since 1992." He says to me, and then he, of course, went to, "But everybody has a price." I wouldn't sell it to him though. I wouldn't sell it to him. He was disappointed. So yeah, that's it, folks. Preview. We're going to be back tomorrow night. I hope the news is going to be good. Very, very positive going into the game without being cocky or arrogant. I think all over the pitch I think we're gonna have too much for these guys. I think it's going to be a good day at the office tomorrow. I expect us to maintain our top of the table position. I think we're going to be way too strong. I think United are going to be very, very concerned going into the game. And I think they're going to want to keep it reasonably low that it's not ultra embarrassing. But we'll know. We'll know 5 minutes into the game what their intention is. Are they going to shell in and go compact and try and keep us out with a low block? Imagine that. We're talking about in 2023, with the amount of money that Man United have spent, we're going to be talking about Man United potentially deploying a low block. Just let that sink in. Until next time, folks. Like the video, subscribe to the channel, hit the bell notification. Absolutely blast the like button on the way out for these Reds. Up the Reds. Anfield tomorrow. Super Sunday. Our biggest rivals are crawling in the door on their hands and knees. Now is the time to feed on that carcass. Let's maintain our top position. I will see you tomorrow night for a match reaction. I hope you all join me. I hope we're all going to be happy. No matter what way the game goes tomorrow, I will be here. I show up either way. Until next time, Reds, let's do this. You will never walk alone.